I wanted to talk today about time management and efficiency. And I wanted to give you guys some specific high-level concepts to handle this. Now, there's a million and one different pieces of technology, cool tricks, things like that in order to be more efficient at time management. But I'm going to tell you, the technology is not your problem. And if it was your problem, then we would not have any more time management issues as society, because they had time management courses back in the 70s, before the smartphones, before the internet, before email, before any of these issues. And I even remember when, before I even had a smartphone, it's not that far ago, long ago, but we were talking about ways to make our computer not have so many notifications and things like that. And again, if it was the technology and with all this new stuff, we would all be the most efficient people on the planet, but we're not. And I would even submit that you are now more busy than you've ever been because of these devices. So I'm going to say to you right now, this is not a technology issue. I hear people running around trying to ask for what the best app is and things like that in order to manage your calendar, manage your schedule, manage your projects. And a lot of it, frankly, is crap. And the reason it's crap is because it just adds an extra layer of complexity to it. And if you don't know how to drive, it doesn't matter how fast of a car you own, because you're not going to be able to control that vehicle. So buying a Ferrari doesn't matter if you're not learning how to drive and get your license first. Yeah, that's the best example I can come up with. Okay, so time management efficiency. Here's the first concept. The first concept is you need to learn to control your inflow. The number one thing that's hurting you right now is that you have simply taken on too many responsibilities. I'm going to tell you, there is enough time in the day. We all have the same 8 hours in a day, 24 hours in a day, yet how people spend their time are very, very different, are very, very different. Some people do 8 transactions a year, some people do 800 transactions a year with a team and everything else. So the amount of time that's in a day is not the problem that's happening right now. Some people are in shape and fit and eat good and get 8 hours of sleep every single night, and some people don't. Some people have great relationships, some people don't. So we're going to say that it is not the amount of time that you have in a day. I know all of us wish that we might have had 36 hours in a day because we'd be able to get more stuff done. But it's how you're spending that time. And the problem is that we've taken on so many things that we have all this inflow of stuff coming at us that we need to manage that to start. So my first point on this is say no to everything. Now, I read a book, or I saw a book, I haven't actually read it yet, an article, and it was all about saying yes to everything. It was this woman who said no to everything, and she changed her life by starting to say yes. And what she's talking about is expanding her horizons and getting out there and doing different things. All of that's okay. You can have this exploratory period in your life, but you have to do it on your terms. You see, the problem is that we say no to we say yes to things that are based off of somebody else's agenda. And that's okay. We can help other people, and I believe that you should dedicate time in your life to helping other people, but not at the expense of your own goals. There's an incredible book called Essentialism. I recommend you read it because you need to say no to everything that's not in line with your long-term goals and values. Obviously, your kids, your spouse, your religion, your finances, things like that are all things you have to say yes to in a lot of respects, but you need to say no to everything else. I am talking about when someone asks you to be the chair of the committee, don't. Say no to it, especially if you feel like you're kind of being guilted in it because nobody else put up their hand, so you're the one that has to take it over. Say no. Somebody else will do it. The world goes around. It's absolutely incredible. Don't sit on the committee. Don't sign up for the weekly group class. Don't do these things unless it's something that you've been very deliberate to adding in as something that's important to you into your calendar. People always say to me, but Lindsey, don't I have to put myself out there to meet more people? And I'm going to say yes. If you don't know very many people right now and networking is part of your plan, then schedule deliberate times to go out there and network. Commit to this committee for a short period of time, but by saying yes to that, you have to say no to something else because it's a unit of time throughout your day. So the best thing is eliminate it all, and if you can build referral systems in your business by being in touch with clients, things like that, it doesn't mean that you have to be the one to run your kids' hockey organization or something. Now again, if it's part of your business and you're very deliberate about it, that's okay, but too many times we're unconscious about saying yes to all these things, and suddenly we're completely out of control. The next one, in terms of controlling the inflow, is eliminate distractions. Our phones and our computers are nightmares for distractions. You need to first of all turn off all the notifications on your phone, virtually everything. There's stuff, as soon as a brand new app downloads, it starts sending you notifications whether you like it or not. And every moment that you take to glance down at that device, to take a quick look at it, it might be something completely useless but grabs your attention. And even if it's just for a moment, humans are horrible multitaskers, and it pulls your attention away from the task at hand. And it becomes impossible to focus. I remember before smartphones that we used to have the email pop-up that said, you got mail, you know, new mail folder, new mail thing. And then now, as soon as you have Facebook open on your MacBook, Facebook notifications are coming and popping up the screen. So-and-so has commented on this, so-and-so has commented on that. This is a productivity destroyer. You don't need to worry. You don't need to see that stuff because it's not important. And some of it might be important, but you don't need, it's important, but it's not urgent. And you don't need to be checking it all the time. So don't let your phone and the computer rule your life, because now, again, that's everybody else's agenda. It's LinkedIn trying to get you to use their service by saying, hey, look at who checked out your profile, twice a day. And then now you're a slave to it and you're not getting the stuff that's important to you done. So one way you can do this is by using email filters. And I'm going to show you guys how to do this in a second here, but imagine this. Of all the emails you have coming into your inbox, which for some of us, it's hundreds per day, how many of those actually require your attention immediately? And then you can ask how many of those actually require your attention at all. I like the how many require your attention at all, because you can unsubscribe to any of those. But many things in our inbox say, I do have to go through and look at that. But how many times per day do you actually need to look at it? So I recommend aggressive filtering for your email. Here's what it looks like. Go ahead and show my screen. So this is a filter that I have set up for anything that's generic. So we have on the left-hand side here, it says that I have 54 unread generic emails. I check these emails once per day, and that's it. I have my Facebook notifications coming in here. I have birthday notifications, things like that. I check it first thing in the morning. Anything that I don't want to subscribe to, mortgage newsletters, things like that, all come in here, and I check it once per day. Now, this is everything that's come in since yesterday and this morning, but every one of these, I love it when that number goes up. This is 54 times that I haven't been distracted today. 54 times that I didn't get another piece of my email box that someone just says, oh, I look at it and then I pull it away. Well, no thought goes rent-free in your mind. So when you look at that, even like this new one, ooh, a new Fitbit. Yes, I might want to take a look at that, and I might open up the email, and it takes that second away from what's important. I've been doing this for about 60 days now, using aggressive filters in my email, actually a little bit more than that, but I have 4,500 messages that have been filtered, and that's 4,500 times that I haven't been distracted. When I actually go to clean these out, I select all, I unselect the ones that I need to actually look at, which is almost sometimes one of them, and then I go to more, I click as read, and I'm done. And that's how I manage that. In order to create filters, you can just click on a message, go on to your more category up here, and just put filter messages like this, and now you can create a filter, and when you create the filter, you can skip the inbox, apply a label, or anything else, but your email volume will literally be cut in, I bet you, a third. Like it'll be not reduction by a third, but you'll only have 1/3 of your emails left that even matter. For some of you, it'll be a lot more. You can also go to your settings here, and in your accounts, look at your email filters. Thank you so much for that, Kelly. So the first thing you want to do is totally eliminate the distractions and control the inflow. Say no to things and filter out those items that you don't need to deal with. Might still need, the emails might still be important, but they're not urgent, and don't confuse the two. Okay, the next thing, first one, control your inflow. The next point here, collect, define, and do. Collect, define, and do. This is your day-to-day workflow process. we have all these items that come into us on a daily basis, and you need to first spend time collecting. Someone might have thrown a physical piece of paper at you, which goes in your bag and eventually in your office goes into an inbox. Someone sent you a voicemail, someone sent you an email message, a text message, anything that they happen to have done. These are all collecting inboxes, and what you have to do each and every day is take a collection of all the stuff you have pressing. Now, this is a philosophy from Getting Things Done by David Allen and his follow-up book, Making It All Work. I suggest you look into this because this is a fantastic system to use. And basically, you capture everything that's going on, and the first time you do this is going to take probably 2 days to collect everything. Then, once you have everything collected, gather all the items in your life, then determine what you want to accomplish in life. So take a step back from those items and say, okay, what's my values and my purpose, i.e., retirement, family, health, things like that. Determine your areas of focus in your life. So this might end up being your real estate business, and specifically, your buyers, your sellers, your clients, your family, your health, your nutrition, things like that. And then determine what's goals in life. And the goals determine, well, what's more important? What's most important? And you're going to have this big list of stuff, and you go through each and every item, and you ask yourself, does this have to be done at all? If not, you trash it. If it does have to be done, does it have to be done on a certain day? If not, no. Then you capture it on a list. And the way you capture these on a list is I use a program called Evernote. It's very, very simple. I used to actually have a binder that had just a bunch of lists in here, but I just started tracking stuff, and I would write down my goals, I would write down my projects, and different things like that. So let's go to show my screen one more time here. And what I've created is a whole bunch of notebooks here. So the important thing about organizing items into lists is the lists need to be relative to the context and where you need to be working on them. So what I have is a list of agendas. Now I can't show this because I have a bunch of stuff that's private in here, but my agendas list has things like Kirsten Favren, Ron Stater, CIR Tech, CIR Accounting. And what I do is when I'm driving around, not driving, but when I'm sitting around the house thinking of something, I say, next time I need to talk to Ron about that. Or if I get an email from Ron and he says, hey, Lindsey, can you please look at this? I'll add it to the Ron list to discuss. And that way when I see Ron, because I can't actually do it any other time than when I'm staring at Ron. If I need to schedule a call, I'll schedule that in my calendar. But I'll take it and I'll say, okay, when I see Ron, now I know the 4 things that I want to talk to Ron about, or the 10 things. If I see Kirsten, now I know the 7 things that I meant to talk to Kirsten. Because you ever have it where you see someone and you say, oh, I had a few things for you, and you forget it, then that person leaves, and now you forget what you needed to talk to them about. Well, you might have had all these to-dos on your list to talk to people, and they weren't scheduled in, or they weren't captured on a list, so you forget about them. But none of the items are that important. They're not time sensitive. Time sensitive stuff goes in your calendar. So I have stuff that can be done anywhere. This will be things like maybe scheduling a appointment we needed some trees trimmed at our house. That's a good example. Books to buy, just a capture list. Calls I need to make. Errands I need to run outside the house. I keep a master list for various things. So if I get a professional development training concept, a new idea to improve that, I capture it in there. And then every single month, when we go to create the calendar, I look at this list and say, hey, what are the new ideas? I have stuff that can only be done in the CIR office. I have a list of my projects, so 32 notes. We talk about doing the virtual office search. We're doing some more things with paperless payouts and things like that. Those are the projects that I need to keep my eyes on. I have projects that are delegated out to other people. I also have a someday maybe list. The number of times a realtor say, hey, you know what? We should do X. And I think to myself, are we going to do that at all? Or are we going to do it someday? And I say, well, you know what? I don't want to let go of it, so I throw it on my someday maybe list. But I don't need to worry about it all the time. Thinking time, to be delegated, and waiting for. I send an email out to someone, hey, can you please get me this information? I don't want to lose track of it, so I have a waiting for list. Now the key with these is a lot of items on these, but I actually check these over completely once a week, and I check over my waiting for list and my projects list each and every day to make sure that my next action items are scheduled in. That might seem confusing, but it's very, very simple. You capture everything, write everything down, and you're just going to organize it into contextual lists. Now, there's certain things that have to be done today. And something that I highly recommend, you can come back to me, Kelly, thank you. Something that I highly recommend is that anything that has to be done today, you put into your calendar. And specifically, obviously an appointment, if it's longer than 10 minutes, it needs to be done, you block it in. If it's something super important like a workout or you're doing your business generating activities, those are time blocked onto your calendar. It's absolutely imperative that you do that, so you treat them like an appointment and you ensure they get done. If I have an item that's quick, that just needs to be a reminder of a day or simple to do, I schedule it as an all-day appointment on my calendar, so it comes up at the top, and that's how I manage my to-do list. I can't show you this right now. Actually, I can show you. I'll just fast forward a couple weeks here. Okay, Kelly, go ahead and you can show my calendar. So we look and say like, okay, well, Thursday, November 11th, I check my dipstick on my vehicle. It has to be done that day. I got to feed my animals. That's garbage day. I need to check the CIR reports. I need to check my generic emails, which once a day is my ones that I've filtered, and a bunch of other activities. And so when I get to November 3rd, I have to check off all those items for that day. And I'll have other to-dos that come up. I might have a follow-up with the client that I followed up with today. Thanks, Kelly. Appreciate that. That I followed up with today that I need to schedule it and say, well, how do I know to follow up with that person in a week? All I do is type in my calendar a week from now, follow up with Jen McInnes, whatever. And then once I follow up with Jen, if I don't get a hold of her, I might roll it to the next day or decide what I'm going to do with it. And then I know on that day that it's going to get done and captured. So using your calendar as day-specific items, that's it. So you collect your items, you define what's going to work, what you have to do, you collect your work, you define the work, and then you do the work. Then when you wake up in the morning, you look at your calendar, you read your list, you know exactly what you need to be working on that day. You might even have some time-blocked items in there, such as generating new business, business tracking, and things like that. The last point that I want to talk about is energy management. Do the most productive tasks when you have the most energy. I used to have a bunch of friends on the University of Calgary Dinos volleyball team. And one of the rules is they were expected to take a nap in the afternoon before practice, but they had to be awake for at least an hour and a half before they started practice, because that is when you had your peak results. So about an hour and a half to 2 hours after you wake up in the morning is when you have your peak energy. And this is almost like universal, is when you have your peak energy to get the most productive task done. Now, you might take a nap after work, or let's say 5 o'clock, you get home, you take a nap, and now you start your most productive task at 8 o'clock p.m. Well, the world has shut down at 8 o'clock p.m. So if you're going to capitalize on opportunities of calling your strategic alliances, your clients, or anything else, you're not going to start it at 8 o'clock p.m. You need to start in the morning, which means we all need to learn to become morning people. Oh, Lindsey, I hate that. That sounds awful. Well, you're going to be missing out on awesome opportunities, because the corporate world is open, call it 8 to 4:30, and that's when you should be doing your most productive tasks, is between that time of 8 o'clock and noon. Also, once the world starts getting busy at about 10:30, the amount of distractions that come in, the phone calls, things like that, you know what's going to happen. You're going to get pulled off your game. So make sure the most important tasks, your business generating activities, get completed in the morning. Balance your calendar based off of energy efficient tasks. You want to watch Netflix? Do it at 8 p.m. at night when your energy is low, and that's the time that you do it. And then get to bed at a decent time, because the other thing that I have to say that's going to determine how productive you are is getting lots of sleep. Sleep is like the magic pill for life. When you're tired, every problem seems at least 4 times bigger than it actually is. If you wake up in the morning after a good night's sleep, the world seems manageable. You talk about having a lack of motivation, it's probably because you're staying up late. The best prime hours for sleep are between 10 a.m. and 2 a.m. Your body, your circadian rhythm operates off of the light of the day. Humans were designed to stay up during the daytime and sleep at night. This whole invention of the electric light, which was 200 years ago, but the electric light forces us to stay up later and screws with our brain and our natural sleep patterns as human beings that have been around for 100,000 years. So when you look at that, you need to try to adjust your schedules to be around the normal sleep patterns that happen, which just means that you wake up at whatever time in the morning, early in the morning, and you go to bed at a decent time at night. I understand you need to work on late night offers. That should be the rarity, that should be the exception, not the rule. We all need to deal with that, I understand. But keep to a consistent sleep pattern, get enough sleep, and the world will be a lot more easy to tackle. In summary, we've gone a little bit over time, and I apologize. Start off by controlling the inflow. Shut down your distractions. Say no to a lot more, and filter out your emails to not hit your inbox so you don't see everything. Then you can be in control of what you choose to look at. And you can be the one to set your priorities. And when you collect, define, and do at every single day, collect all the stuff that's coming in, define what's important, and then you schedule it in and you do it, you get to manage your life based off of your priorities, not based off of the inflow and distractions that came in from everybody else, which is operating on their priorities and not your own. And the last one, energy management. Work at your most productive times. Make sure you get enough sleep, because the world will be a lot better place and a lot happier place if we were all better rested. I swear to God we would have less war. That's how important sleep is. So ladies and gentlemen, that's it. Thank you for sticking with me on that.